I'm Hilary DIXON, and I'm the Senior Manager of Curriculum at ACARA, which is the Australian Curriculum Authority. I think what the Learning Compass does is it shows just the complexity of knowledge, skills, values and attitudes students need today for tomorrow's world. I think education has changed so rapidly over such a short period of time that what the compass does is that it allows you to engage in that whole range of competencies that are going to influence students' learning. I think people so traditionally think about learning in school as being discipline-based, as learning English or national language, mathematics, science and so on. They don't think about the skills and competencies that students need to master to be able to, after leaving school, cope with the world they're going into. And I think what the Learning Compass does is actually shows a pathway for countries to think about the competencies that need to be embedded in curriculum to allow students that learning. We have relatively recently developed a national curriculum, and that's the first time for our country. Up until 2009, each state and territory had their own curriculum. So from 2009 onwards, we've developed a national curriculum. And that national curriculum did look at the interrelationship between disciplinary knowledge and competencies. So we've come up with a three-dimensional framework that does resonate with the Learning Compass. So in our curriculum, we have the disciplines, the learning areas, the subjects, but we also have what we call the general capabilities that align beautifully with some of the competencies in the framework, as well as the third dimension being priorities that really are about our students seeing themselves in their local, the national, the global context. So many of the competencies in the Learning Compass do resonate with the kind of developments we've put in place in our curriculum. That doesn't mean to say our curriculum's finished. Once you've developed a curriculum, you do need to monitor its implementation and consider, well, where do we want to go with this? Does it need refreshing, revising? Compass allows us to think about where we might want to move in terms of refreshing our curriculum. I think too that the Learning Compass does offer an opportunity to see what a curriculum looks like where you have students at the centre, where you have students as agents of their own learning, and well-being being an overarching outcome of learning. So I think it does present a really unique image of how a curriculum needs to reflect individual students' needs. I think data competence, digital literacies are very important for students, but embedded in everything else they do, not as an end in themselves. Other competencies in relation to sustainability, in other words, students being advocates for the environment, are really important as well. I think there's some challenges too with a compass and a curriculum that is complex and evolving, and that's implementation. It's tough for students, it's tough for teachers to be faced with continual change, and I think a challenge for all of us is how you are able to embed those competencies in learning that is relevant for students without it being revolutionary change and difficult to implement. So I think that's a challenge for all countries as we go through curriculum renewal, refreshment, revision, that we actually think through very carefully how that implementation can happen.